Hi, this is Clint, and here I'm going to give a detailed introduction of the Jesus Prayer. And the Jesus Prayer, the full version, is Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And why is this prayer important? What relevance does it have to the Christian tradition? Well, it goes back to the very beginning, and it was probably made very popular with the Desert Fathers in the early church, and we're talking probably 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century, and we're talking about a lot of hermits that are now canonized in the Eastern Orthodox tradition. Some made it into the Catholic tradition, sainthood, some did not, but you've got to remember everything was one in the first 1,000 years. Catholic hadn't broken off from Orthodox, hadn't been the East-West split yet, and long before Protestant Reformation. So Christianity was one in the first 1,000 years. And this prayer was made popular by the Desert Fathers, who were hermits and who would say it continuously. And they were coming from it based on many things in the Bible, actually, in the New Testament. One was from Thessalonians, where Paul says to pray ceaselessly. And they wanted a prayer they could say all the time. They would also say what they would call arrow prayers. You'd kind of bombard heaven with arrows. And some of these arrow prayers would be shorter versions of the Jesus prayer. It would just be like, Lord, help me. Or sometimes just as simple as one word, God, or oh God. And back further than that, though, this prayer probably has its roots in the Gospels with Jesus and his ministry and people coming to him for healing and, saying, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. You're really asking for healing. Sin in the Orthodox tradition, and some contemplatives in the West, understand it like this as well. Sin is more of a sickness than it is a punishment for something that's been done wrong. And Christ is the healer. So you're basically asking for healing. Mercy comes from the Greek word eleison, which basically kind of goes back to olives or olive oil. Oil or olive oil, which was used in the Mediterranean for a lot of sicknesses. They rubbed it on the chest. I'm reaching for my chest here because they used it a lot for respiratory illnesses in the ancient world. And so you're really asking Jesus for healing. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Bring me healing. Ease my pain. Ease my sickness. Ease my fatigue. I think that's the main outcry going on. And again, this goes back, and you can also see it in Luke in chapter 18, the story of the publican and the Pharisee, when they were talking about who prays better. That's an interesting story to read if you're not familiar with it, or if you feel like reading it again now. That's Luke chapter 18. But this goes all throughout the tradition and through the monastic tradition in the East and the West. Monks saying this all the time. But for me, and the reason I'm up here talking about it, is that I think it's a very helpful thing to say throughout the day. Anybody can say it wherever they are. I can say it in the car. I can say it waiting in line. I can say it just, whenever I'm thinking about it, really. And the idea is for the prayer to just basically get in your system and get integrated into your system over time. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And the more you say it, the more you become one with the prayer. The idea is to become so in touch with the prayer that you're praying it automatically, without even sub-vocalizing, without even thinking about the words. There's been an imprint of the prayer in you. But that's a more advanced stage, as they say, for people that have been saying it for decades and hermits. I break it down into about four steps or four stages, or just four windows of this prayer, just from its kind of natural progression in my experience. And the first stage would just be saying it out loud, like I'm doing in this video, like you could do whenever you feel comfortable. And I actually think that's the best way, to just say it out loud and say it out loud repeatedly. Because when you're saying it out loud, you're not only saying it, you're hearing yourself say it. So you're really kind of flooding your spirit with this prayer, on several levels, and it's becoming more a part of you. So that's just saying it out loud. And Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. It's important to distinguish this from what they might have in Hinduism, which is a mantra. And the mantras are usually based, from what I can tell, in Sanskrit words. And the Sanskrit syllables actually kind of represent the energy vibrations of what they're saying. So you say Om, and you say Om, and Om, the word is what it's doing. The sound is its meaning at the same time. And I bring that up just to say that this is different from that, in the sense that this, the power of this prayer is just in its meaning. So it doesn't really matter the syllables you say. Just saying the syllables over and over doesn't have some sort of magic trick to reorganize your thought formations or anything. It's in the meaning. And the meaning is that Lord Jesus Christ is the holy name of God, and the presence of God most resides in this world, this fallen world, where we are separated from God, or we have some separation from God. There's a disconnect, original sin. In this world, God most resides in his holy name, the presence of God, the essence, the core essence of God is most in his holy name. So when you're saying, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner, you are getting more and more in touch with the presence. And the quickest way to learn this is to just start saying it for yourself. And I believe you'll see what I'm talking about. The more you say this, the more the presence of God just starts to surround you on a daily basis. Now the second stage of this prayer would be saying it silently in your heart, or silently in the mind, rather, excuse me. Third stage is prayer of the heart. Second stage is just silently in the mind. So you just be saying, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner, but you'd be saying that silently. Obviously I just said it out loud, but you'd be saying it just silently in your head, probably being sub-vocalizing, kind of hearing yourself say something in your mind, as we often do when we're saying something clearly in our mind. And the point of that is that over time, it moves from the mind to the heart. And what they mean by that is not just, what the tradition means. That's who I'm talking about when I say they. What the tradition means is that the mind and the heart aren't just, metaphors or ideas or figures of speech, but the heart, that's your spiritual center, that's the connection of body, mind, and soul in your chest. It is actually where the physical organ is too. So the spiritual meaning and the physical meaning of heart kind of coalesce in that area as you're saying the prayer. But of course, when you start saying it silently, and again, that's the second part, when you start saying it silently, it's going to probably feel more up in your mind. I think most people probably walk around day to day and they're feeling like you feel like your core essence, me, I'm not really in my arms, I'm not really in my legs, I'm right behind my eyes in my head. A lot of times, I can feel that way. You start calming the mind down, you start becoming more kinesthetically in touch with the inner you. You can almost begin to feel your spirit moving through you as you're saying this prayer. And over time, hopefully, it's not just in the head up here. You're beginning to say it from the heart, and you're feeling the presence in the heart. And that would be, what they basically call the prayer of the heart, which leads into the fourth stage, which would just be pure contemplation, I suppose, where you've opened up this channel between you and the divine, and there's this always present connection. I like to think of it as the prayer has become this kind of, this kind of sacred doorway where your spirit has kind of tapped open the innermost essence of God. And if you say it long enough, I sincerely believe that can happen. But I say all this just to throw out the basic framework from which people say it and what the tradition teaches. But again, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, and it doesn't have to be anything too difficult. You can just be saying the prayer aloud or silently throughout the day as you're thinking about it. And it's a beautiful thing. Now there are breathing techniques that some will use, and they'll breathe in. This is obviously when you're saying it silently. They'll breathe in, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God. They'll breathe out, have mercy on me, a sinner. But I wouldn't really even, my suggestion, and for me, I don't worry too much about the breathing. I find that so I wouldn't worry too much about the breathing techniques at first. I would just begin to practice saying it. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. You can also say a short version. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. And that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the teaching, and hope you all have a good evening or day, whenever it is. All right, take care.